Hello there, CryptoQ Media. I'm glad you decided to come back to my channel. You may have been aware that yesterday was the final day for the SEC to oppose the Ripple lawsuit. Now we need to know if Ripple or the SEC will appeal Judge Torres's decision in whole or in part. Everyone is concerned about the SEC appeal and what it could mean for the XRP price, but no one knows for sure, in my opinion. Maybe investors start to feel a little scared. I don't think it would much impact XRP's capacity to go on a bull run this market cycle, as it already has that legal clarity, which isn't really desirable. In my opinion, XRP will be unharmed in the long term unless the market realizes this. But I can see how it could make some people feel uneasy in the not so distant future. I can certainly arrange for that to take place. In order to keep everyone calm, I will just repeat what many XRP community attorneys have said, including Jeremy Hogan, who is basically saying that the SEC will probably but not definitely appeal the tour's decision. Suddenly, he isn't putting at a 90-yard, sure shot. So as not to spoil anything, I will tell you what he said exactly right now. According to him, the SEC is likely to file an appeal. So there's no misunderstanding, I am not from a wealthy family or anything. For fun and relaxation, I create YouTube videos discussing various aspects of the cryptocurrency industry. I am just an enthusiast. Please do not take my comments as a basis to make any financial decisions. I am not a financial advisor. Now, out of the 4 XRP community attorneys I've spoken about, 3 of them think the SEC will most certainly appeal. Another thing, I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on YouTube. I really don't think you need me to tell you how I actually feel about this and how likely it is to happen. Anyway, I thought I'd provide you some advice on this matter from actual attorneys. This can be giving the impression of a hint-taking stance. Eleanor Turd, a contributor for Fox Business Network, reached out to the SEC following the publication of this article. Something is visible here. She starts writing fresh content first thing in the morning. The following statement was issued by a SEC spokesman in response to my request for comment regarding the Ripple verdict. So, it's related to SEC. As this statement progresses, be sure to note the official position of the SEC. A number of remedies have been proposed by the SEC, including an injunction preventing Ripple from violating the securities laws and substantial civil monetary penalties totaling over 12 times what Ripple had previously proposed as appropriate. The court has decided to grant these remedies due to Ripple's history of challenging the scope of the court's summary judgment order. As a last point, the court emphasized how awful Ripple's actions were and how egregious their repeated and substantial violations of Section 5 are. No matter the label or technology used, the securities laws will apply to any company that offers or sells investment contracts, as earlier courts have determined. Reading between the lines of her text, it seems like everyone is happy with the result. Ripple is ecstatic because the initial suggestion from the SEC was 1,000,003 times higher. The SEC may have cause for celebration because I do not believe either party will be able to contest the remedy's determination. The judge found that Ripple had violated securities rules, and as a result, the company will now pay 12 times its initial amount. So, I'm just going to wear my "I'm not a lawyer" t-shirt and say, guys, I don't know, because the verdict has been handed down. However, I do believe that the SEC would contest the ruling from July 2023. I will merely transmit the remarks made by the lawyers to you. I don't agree with them, but that's the position taken by the SEC, and this new material may give the impression that they are unsure about whether to appeal or not. What gives them the right to say, yeah, this is a slam dunk, we're succeeding because our statements are like that? but we're unhappy about what happened, is a common phrase they use later on as an excuse. I mean, come on, we're all complete jerks and a total pain in the neck. Together, they don't make sense, do they? I think they could pull it off, even though they are a bunch of total jerks. Am I to expect it to be? I suppose that time will tell. According to attorney Fred Rispoli, the SEC will not be appealing. In fact, he wrote the following: both sides' rhetoric reflects the mindset of contented people. This decision will not be appealed by me. Oh, how I pray he's right. I don't pretend to have all the answers. May he be proven correct. It seems that both parties have received enough from this, the Jungle League responded. Both appeals are fraught with peril. Assuming everyone is behaving sensibly, I think it's over. As a final reaction, Fred chose the 100 emoji. So, the question arises if the SEC will behave reasonably here. After the SEC admitted they had overplayed their hand, the court halves their claim, reducing it from $2 billion to 94%. Just in case you didn't see it yesterday, Brad Garlinghouse posted about this. We now have the information necessary to continue growing our business thanks to the court's ruling. Ripple considers this a victory. After overcoming industry and legal hurdles, the XRP community as a whole was able to escape the SEC's negative scrutiny. Therefore, you have it, arguments on both sides, each claiming to be right. That is the present tenor. From my point of view, Ripple contains all the necessary components. Ripple obviously came out on top in this arrangement, when seen from a different perspective. Almost every demand made by the SEC was satisfied. And because they don't reflect reality, you find them entertaining. James Murphy, better known as Metal Lawman, is an attorney. He is currently awaiting a response from Gary Gensler over the Ripple ruling. According to his plans, it will be seen as a success. But I really doubt he will say whether they intend to appeal. Outlining the possible issues on appeal and assessing the probability of success are typical tasks for a lawyer. Time is required, really. The SEC might not even be certain they will appeal right now, if that's the case. They have 60 days from today to complete their examination, regardless of whether they haven't finished it yet. However, in this case, Attorney Murphy does think that the SEC would likely file an appeal. As a result, in this video clip that clocks in at around 3.5 minutes, he laid out everything. In an interview with Scott Melker, alias the Wolf of All Streets, he gave a convincing explanation for why he thinks that was likely. He also took some notes. If the SEC does not get disgorgement in this case, he claims, they are gravely screwed. They will be unable to obtain their desired outcomes in future cases if this pattern continues. The Second Circuit changed the law late last year, he said, making it necessary to show actual monetary loss before a defendant could be required to pay disgorgement. Thus, Ripple's good fortune paid off in this particular instance. There is some debate, though, because he did note that the Fifth Circuit does not use the same standard. Murphy, the attorney, claims that this makes an appeal by the SEC more probable, and that the agency should also seek the identical judgment on exchange-traded XRP. For the time being, I will just pause to jot down some thoughts on where XRP stands. It was dicta that failed. Attorney Hogan was the first to point out that, even from a technical standpoint, that isn't appealing. But he did further. He mentioned that the SEC had previously asked for a speedy appeal in the Ripple case through an interlocutory appeal, as pointed out by Attorney Murphy. This occurred around a year ago, but it was later determined to be without merit since, well, they vehemently disagreed with the tour's stance on XRP transactions and cryptocurrency exchanges. In light of the case's conclusion, their action from a year ago nearly begs the question of whether they will file a conventional appeal. Both Jeremy Hogan and Murphy, the attorneys, have advanced this line of reasoning. No one seems to be accepting his 60% chance estimate, and he thinks that SEC appeals Judge Torres' decision is an anomaly. Due of the SEC's unusual behavior as a litigant, I maintain my 60% chance. The SEC isn't impacted to the same extent, and an appeal could have unintended consequences. It seems to be true, I suppose. Anyone who has watched my video has my sincere appreciation. I would very appreciate it if you could rate my video. Click the subscribe button and then tell me what you think when you're done.